Hey everyone. The pedal tone. Typical Jimmy Smith entrance to a squabble would be in halftime playing pedal tones on the left hand, the 5, and the 2 minor on the right hand, and make it sound like a sus chord, right? So that was in the key of E flat, and we're looking at F minor 9 over B flat. That was Jimmy Smith's typical entrance to a squabble tune. And let me take the enable of the overlay here, and we're going to get right into talking about squabbling, right? All right, we're looking at it in my B3, and we're also going to look at it from the clone standpoint, the Mojo here. And I've got it set up to sound similar to the B3, so we'll be able to compare a little bit and talk a little bit about how to do them on both, okay? So, difficult to get the camera angle to do both at the same time, right? All right, so here we go. So squabbling, the basic setup is the first drawbar and the last 4. However, the fourth one, the last one, as you all know, doesn't sound when the percussion's on. So it has a... If I remove this, it gets a little brighter and doesn't have the attack. Okay, so that percussive attack allows that sound, and this drawbar is actually not being used, but those who know the Jimmy Smith standard sound, this drawbar is pulled, so when you do turn this off, you get that whistle sound, right? That 1-foot drawbar. So let's talk about squabbling and how different techniques can be used. On the B3 or the clone, similar effects can be made, although the B3 goes a little bit deeper in the sense that it has some contacts, more contacts, so a note when it's pressed down can be layered. So the touch sensitivity on a real Hammond B3 or clone, not a clone, tone wheel, is the fact that it's kind of reverse, right? It's kind of like, okay, so the softer you press it. Now, I like to put a little bit of reverb and use the Leslie on fast, even though sometimes on Jimmy McGriff's records, they would get down to like the Leslie on off and use it as a, like, a Jimmy McGriff. Okay, but Jimmy kind of used it more with the fast speed and a little bit more reverb to get that shimmering effect. Whoa, what did I just do there? Okay, we're going to talk about the technique of how to play it. I didn't get a chance to watch videos, so I listened to it on record, vinyl. And so I kind of learned how to play it by curving these 3 fingers in and leaving these 2 fingers out so that I get that Wes Montgomery octave, with the middle being texture, okay? With this kind of sound being ambiguous, right? The middle just adds texture to it. Here's 2 notes. Here's sticking these 3 middle notes, wherever they land down. If you go real light, you can kind of take your 3rd finger and pivot it here so that these 2 fingers kind of go in this direction. You get a shimmer that way. Or hold them down. Okay. The other way is to roll it. finer roll. The finest, let's see. To fine, to rolling. To, whoa, what did I just do there? You can add that if you need a little bit more. Okay, so that's kind of the techniques that I use. And then there's the phrasing. You've got the single note. And that requires a little bit of shoulder blade muscles, which I'm a little weak at. So when I get going really fast, it gets kind of like hard for me, okay? But this is where you can get speed. You have to get close, and you have to just relax, and you just got to let your hand do the thing. Okay? All right, that's how you can get those. It's kind of a technique, okay? But I like to also use this not only with just those two, but use squabbling as a language, right? So we can express myself, I can express myself more than just using that. How about rolling it so I can... Did you notice not only was I rolling, but I was also changing my phrasing to make it sound more like it's alive, right? Right? Okay. Now, another way is to use triplets because you have three. You can go 1, 2, 3. See? Of course, you got the wow. I don't know. Somebody wrote me an email and said, there's this one song. It just sounds like white light. Kind of figured out where the spot was, and it happened to be this. This is when you're coming from here, and you run down. You can do those at different speeds. They don't have to be the same. Remember, this is art, and this is the paint. This is the colors that we're going to paint with. So, squabbling, then, is trying to get that halftime groove in there. All the quarter notes are okay, but if you listen to Jimmy, often he'll do the halftime. So it'll be like, let's take a look at the Mac the Knife, huh? Like Andy Griffith, you know? See, now I'm holding it down. Now I'm going to make it thicker. Hear it? Jimmy did it that way. So you can mix them. That's the technique of squabbling. So try to mix the language and the techniques, and remember that the organ is a synthesizer, so it's a big band too. So some of the part of the squabbling technique is to incorporate the rest of the band and the synth effects. For instance, those are effects that can be used, and Jimmy used them all the time. How about the big band? Or the strings? So don't forget to bring in the rhythm section when you're doing it, okay? So let's talk about clones and squabbling on the organ and squabbling on a clone, okay? So first of all, no two organs sound alike, all right? But every clone of a certain model does. So you might want to figure out how your clone gets close, or as close as you can, to a tone. All right, that's the squabbling tone. One way to do is pick one of your favorite records and listen to the squabble sound and try to get your clone to sound the same. That's one way you'll find that you might have to take some treble off or gets real bright on one side. But I'm going to show you a couple settings that are different that'll work for you, okay? One thing is, sometimes people like to keep this side open for soloing with percussion, so they want to make a sound without the percussion but be the same squabbling sound, all right? Well, I've often heard that this sound, the first, using the same but without the percussion, okay? So we're going to keep on the B natural, the percussion sound, and on the B flat, we're going to do this side that doesn't have, okay? So for me, my ear tells me these are two diverse sounds. That's much brighter, and on a clone, that's going to kill you. See how it changes characteristic when you remove this drawbar with the percussion? Now, even though the percussion's not sounding right now, right? So that this is only going to sound at the beginning. But once you slide in and the decay happens, okay? So to me, my ear on the squabble sound hears it more like, take this drawbar out since it's not working over here, and how about add a little bit of this drawbar, all right, the fifth drawbar, to simulate some of that percussion sound. Almost exact. So that would be a closer replication, right, of the real squabble sound, the way Jimmy would do it. So this is kind of the way I go with clones. So we're gonna do exactly that. We're gonna first listen to and how to create that sound. See, the clone has one contact. Some of the newer ones, the XK5 has 3 contacts. I haven't put my hands on it, so I don't know how it would feel. Okay, but I do know with the single contact, and most of you will have a single contact. One thing I know about the organ tone, let's talk about the tone. Let's don't even talk about technique. The organ tone is not like a percussive attack like a piano, right? The percussion, it was added to give it a little bit more attack, right? But the organ tone is more like a ooh kind of tone, right? So it doesn't kind of slap out at you, does it? So the more staccato that you play, no matter whether you're making 9 contacts or 1, the less time you give the engine or your ear to hear that sound. So what I do to make up for in terms of the lightness on a clone is I just play more staccato. I make some of my effects more staccato. Okay? But so here's a clone, and I mean here's my organ. I'm going to do one technique at a time, okay? And we'll take a look at it. First, let's just take a listen to the sound according to just playing a lick. I'm going to flip this here. Different tonal quality, but I'm connecting with all the contacts on a lick like that, so it really doesn't matter. Of course, there's a little different tonal quality, of course. Every clone doesn't sound the same. Mojo or a Hammond, so you're going to have to find the sound. This is the closest I can get with this. In this situation, we're just using simulator rotating speakers. Okay? So I'm going to keep the camera here now. I'm going to talk about the technique that we talked about before. And then I'm going to demonstrate it on the real organ so you can hear it. And then I'm going to put my hands here and we'll get it close, okay? So the first one would be that rolling one. Remember where we put the 3 fingers down and we just slide. We just roll those 2 fingers, right? Let's listen to the Hammond. Now let's listen to the clone. Same. So that technique is the same. How about the same? How about the degrees? Let's see. First, I gotta get my head in there. That. Then. Right here you can notice a little bit because when the palm goes down on the real organ, it's a little bit of a degree issue, where here, this is going to make all the contacts. So if you got the band going crazy, you probably wouldn't notice that different, but you could see in here, this is where the clone kind of doesn't do the same thing. So I would stay away from that. I'm not going to go there too much. It sounds sloppy there, where here it sounds cool. Because I'm only going down a little bit and connecting with just a few of the contacts. So remember I kind of talked about by going staccato, you can kind of simulate the pulling of it. So if I go like this, if I start to lift my hand a little bit so that it starts to trigger the notes a little bit less. Ooh, it almost sounded like key contacts to me. So you can kind of simulate it by playing staccato or by lifting your hand so that the notes are so staccato you don't so it almost sounds like you're skipping the bus bars. So I'm going to play the bass on this, and then I'm going to have and we're going to use the same sound, okay? So let's pull this. I'm going to show you another secret. If you still think your organ is too bright, you'll notice when I play the B3, I haven't done this yet to this sound, but it's got a little bit less of a shrill to it. So all you have to do is just back the drawbars down a little bit. When I used to play with Pat Martino and use the full organ, that shrill, he didn't like it. So I had to back him down like that. That's as close as I can get, but let's do. Whoops. Let me put some reverb. Needs a little more, right? Okay. All right. So anyhow, that's my demonstration for squabbling. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the channel. More to come. God bless.